Good morning. This is your Barbados Today morning news update for Friday, August 14. In just a few hours, family, friends, dignitaries, and Barbadians will pause to bid farewell to the country's longest-serving leader. Former Prime Minister Professor Owen Arthur, who died on July 27, will be laid to rest in his hometown St. Peter after a full Thanksgiving service at the St. Peter Parish Church. The official proceedings will begin at noon.
The cortege leaves Lyndhurst Funeral Home at noon tomorrow. 12 o'clock noon. It leaves Lyndhurst Funeral Home. It turns right on Passage Road, continues along Country Road. It turns at the traffic lights, turns right at Weymouth, and proceeds along Roebuck Street to its junction with Crumpton Street, where it turns left. At the junction with Constitution Road and St. Michael's Row, it turns right and proceeds west along St. Michael's Row. At the lights, it proceeds counter regular traffic flow, so it proceeds west on that street, which is at the side of Hero Square, and it stops right in front of the south gate of the Parliament buildings. It stops at that location for 1 minute. Mr. Arthur, as many of you no doubt know, represented St. Peter for 34 years, but before that, for 1 year, he was a senator. And so for 35 years, that was his base of operation to some degree, at least as a senator and then as a member of parliament. So we stop for 1 minute, and we expect that there will be the silence that goes with the respect that we would understand to be shown at that location. The cortege moves from that spot at the south of the Parliament buildings and proceeds again counter traffic westward along Broad Street against traffic.
In other news this Friday, 2 juveniles are being held by police as investigations continue into videos posted on social media in which several homeless elderly men are being abused. In the videos, some young boys are seen slapping the men across their heads in the vicinity of Spice Street and Robert Street, the city. Police Public Relations Officer Acting Inspector Rodney Innes condemned the act he described as a popular prank which surfaced in the U.S. a year ago. The boys have reportedly apologized, and Innes said efforts are being made to find an amicable solution. President of the Barbados Alliance to End Homelessness, Kimar Safri, and Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs, Cynthia Ford, have condemned the action. Safri urged the government to enact legislation to help protect not only homeless persons, but the most vulnerable. Minister Ford stressed the need to protect the elderly and to properly train and educate children to have respect for everyone. Community mediation is now available in Barbados, and officials are optimistic that the introduction of the Alternative Dispute Resolution Service should help to minimize the number of cases going before the law courts. The service is being offered under the Canadian-funded Improve Access to Justice in the Caribbean. At the official launch this week, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Community Empowerment Yolande Howard said there has been a noticeable increase in tension in society in recent times, and she believes mediation will play a critical role in helping to solve those frictions.
It is extremely necessary that we have the community mediators on board to assist in dealing with these tensions, helping these people, especially the young ones, helping them to be able to deal with some of these tensions. Some of the tensions are based on some factors that I will not share today, but it is very evident that we need to be able to help them to understand the importance of life, the importance of community, and to understand that what they're doing is not just hurting themselves, but it is also hurting their families, and it is hurting their communities and the country on a whole.
Deputy Commissioner of Police Erwin Boyce described the Community Mediation Service as another step towards helping members of the community to function effectively. He noted concern about the high number of domestic disputes, saying that the majority of the more than 50,000 annual calls to the Royal Barbados Police Force were domestic matters. He stressed the need for a more efficient way to handle those complaints.
The force has broadened responses in how to deal effectively and efficiently with domestic related matters, intimate partner violence, and what I refer to as some troublesome neighborhoods and situations or events. Our family conflict unit, which was set up as being a flagship in providing strong and able responses to situations as it relates to domestic violence and intimate partner violence, and in this particular area that mediation, counseling remains paramount.
Commissioner Boyce also pledged that every effort will be made to retrain and retool police officers to handle disputes, as he admitted there are some challenges within the force.
We are working to partner with this project without question, since we recognize that many of our responses to mediation is the key. And I can quote a number because my portfolio also relates to sloppy service from the police. And, we are not a perfect organization, although we are 150 years old. And our organization is as strong as its weakest link. And some of our links might need retraining and retooling. So sometimes we do get complaints of some inept service. And judging from the ineptness of the service and from the investigation, from a disciplinary perspective, we recognize that some of our officers are not as trained as we thought they were in terms of communication, in terms of delivery of police services. And we even went as far as to make a determination that sometimes we need to reshape the authority of the police officer.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news, Jamaica's political parties are gearing up for the September 3 general elections, but they admit there will be changes because of COVID-19. The Jamaica Labour Party General Secretary Dr. Horace Chang, however, signals they will still meet the needs of voters.
General Secretary for the Jamaica Labour Party, Dr. Horace Chang, said the strategies implemented for election campaigning will not cause any further spread of COVID-19.
Jamaica has a very Jamaica's political campaign has historically been very, it's almost carnival-like. It involves the population heavily, and that's a positive for the democratic process because we are still a developing country, and we have a lot of socioeconomic challenges, so we need to keep our population engaged in the democratic process.
Meanwhile, Dr. Chang says he's confident that his party will win a number of seats currently held by the People's National Party.
On the international front, Israel talked of history and Palestinians of betrayal after Thursday's surprise announcements of a deal to normalize relations between the Jewish state and the United Arab Emirates. More in this report from Reuters Television.
Under the deal, which the Trump administration helped broker, Israel has agreed to suspend plans to annex part of the occupied West Bank. The deal also firms up opposition to regional power Iran, which the UAE, Israel, and the U.S. view as the main threat in the conflict-ridden region. The two states will exchange embassies and ambassadors and meet in the coming weeks to sign bilateral agreements regarding investment, tourism, direct flights, security, telecommunications, and other issues.
Just a few moments ago, I hosted a very special call with two friends.
The agreement was sealed in a phone call on Thursday between Trump, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and Abu Dhabi's Crown Prince Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed. In a statement, the Crown Prince stressed that the agreement would stop further Israeli annexation of Palestinian territories, which Israel has said was waiting for approval from Washington. But Netanyahu, in a speech later on Thursday, said annexing parts of the West Bank, territory Palestinians seek for their own state, was still on the table, and that the Trump administration asked Israel to, quote, temporarily suspend doing so in order that Thursday's peace deal be reached.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.